The warning signs. The crystalline spires of the Imperial Intelligence Headquarters pierced the violet sky of Nexus Prime, their surfaces reflecting the light of 3 moons. Inside the highest tower, Commander ZYX-427 stood before a holographic display, his 4 eyes fixed on the rotating image of a blue planet. "Earth," he whispered, his secondary vocal cords vibrating with concern. "How did we miss this for so long?" The commander's tentacles moved across the control panel, bringing up footage that had cost 12 intelligence operatives their lives to obtain. The High Council chamber fell silent as the recording began playing, showing scenes from what humans called basic training. High Counselor Venare leaned forward, her bioluminescent patches pulsing with interest. These creatures, they willingly subject themselves to such conditions? The footage showed humans running through obstacles under live fire, swimming in freezing waters, and conducting hand-to-hand combat exercises. But it wasn't the training that disturbed the council, it was the expressions on the humans' faces. They were smiling. "That's not the concerning part," ZYX-427 continued, switching to different footage. "This is their entertainment." The screen filled with images of humans participating in activities they called extreme sports, climbing sheer cliff faces without safety equipment, jumping from orbital platforms, and fighting in regulated combat arenas. "Surely these are their warriors?" asked Counselor Dreltox, his scales shifting color with anxiety. "No," ZYX-427 replied grimly. "These are their civilians. Their children. They're elderly. The entire species appears to be programmed for survival and combat at levels we've never encountered." The council chamber erupted in worried whispers. Humanity had been discovered during a routine survey of potential expansion territories. Initially dismissed as a primitive species still struggling with basic space travel, the deeper investigation had revealed something far more troubling. "There's more," ZYX-427 continued, his voice dropping lower. "We've intercepted their entertainment broadcasts. For centuries, they've been creating simulations, what they call movies, and games, about alien contact. In nearly every scenario, they emerge victorious against technologically superior forces." High Counselor Venare's bioluminescence dimmed. "They've been preparing for us without even knowing we exist." "Precisely," ZYX-427 confirmed. "And their preparation methods are unprecedented. They don't just train their bodies and minds. They tell stories, create art, build entire cultures around the concept of facing and defeating superior forces." The commander brought up more footage, this time showing historical human conflicts. "They've developed thousands of martial arts styles, military strategies, and combat techniques. Not for survival, but for sport. They willingly pursue activities that would be considered torture by most species standards, calling it pushing their limits." The council watched in horrified fascination as scenes of human endurance events played out, ultramarathons through scorching deserts, survival expeditions in frozen wastelands, and deep-sea diving without protective gear. "We cannot allow them to develop further," Counselor Dreltox declared. "The Empire's expansion plans require their territory. We must act now, while we still hold the technological advantage." Venare raised a clawed hand. "Direct conflict would be unwise. We need a more subtle approach." "I agree," ZYX-427 said. "Which is why I propose we contract the Shadow Syndicate. Their assassins are the most efficient killers in the known galaxy. One strike at their leadership structure should destabilize their entire civilization." The council members exchanged glances. The Shadow Syndicate services came at an astronomical price, but their success rate was unmatched in galactic history. No species had ever survived their attention. "Make the arrangements," Venare ordered. "Whatever the cost, we cannot risk these humans becoming a threat to the Empire." As ZYX-427 left the chamber to contact the Syndicate, he couldn't shake the feeling that they were missing something crucial about this strange species. The human's ability to turn survival into recreation, combat into sport, and hardship into entertainment spoke of a psychological profile unlike anything in the Empire's vast databases. The commander paused at a window, looking up at the stars. Somewhere out there, on a blue planet, a species of natural warriors was going about their daily lives, unaware that they had already terrified the galaxy's most powerful civilization without firing a single shot. Little did he know, this was just the beginning of a chain of events that would reshape the galaxy's understanding of what it meant to be truly dangerous. The Assassin's Dilemma. The Shadow Syndicate's headquarters floated in the dark space between galaxies, a massive structure of black metal and void glass that absorbed rather than reflected light. Within its halls, Master Assassin Kiratal stood before the Syndicate Council, her crystalline skin refracting the dim light into rainbow patterns on the obsidian walls. "The Empire's payment has cleared," she announced, her voice carrying the musical undertones of her species. 2 trillion credits, the largest contract in our history. The council members, each hidden behind masks that concealed their various species, remained silent as holographic displays materialized around them, showing the intelligence data from Earth. Kiratal had spent 3 cycles studying the information, and still, she felt unprepared. "Before we accept," she continued, "you need to see what our advanced scouts discovered." With a gesture, she brought up new footage. This was recorded yesterday. The hologram showed a human settlement in what they called Alaska. A young human female was running through snow-covered terrain, pursuing what the database identified as a moose, a massive creature that could easily kill most sentient species. The human carried no energy weapons, no powered armor, just a primitive projectile launcher. "Watch," Kiratal commanded. The human tracked the creature for 3 local days, sleeping in the snow, eating frozen rations. When the moose finally tired, the human approached it on foot, made the kill with a single shot, and then, most impossibly, carried portions of the massive creature back to her settlement. "This is not a warrior," Kiratal explained. "This is what they call a hobby hunter. She does this for recreation." Another council member, Vector, leaned forward. "Surely this is an exceptional case?" Kiratal shook her head, her crystalline form catching the light. "No. This is common. But it gets worse." She changed the display to show different scenes, humans racing vehicles at lethal speeds, climbing frozen waterfalls, diving into ocean trenches. "Their response to danger is wrong," she explained. "When most species encounter danger, they retreat. Humans see it as a challenge. They deliberately seek out hazardous situations for what they call the thrill." The council chamber remained silent as more footage played, humans fighting fires, rescuing others from collapsed buildings, running into danger rather than away from it. Then came the combat training footage, military and civilian. "They've developed thousands of different combat styles," Kiratal continued. "Not for survival, but for sport. They voluntarily subject themselves to physical damage in controlled environments to improve themselves." Vector's mask tilted. "How do they survive such training?" "That's the most disturbing part," Kiratal replied. "They have a biological response they call adrenaline. When activated, it allows them to temporarily ignore physical limitations, pain, and even severe injuries. They can continue fighting with broken bones, missing limbs, and wounds that would incapacitate any other species." She brought up medical scans. "And they heal rapidly. Broken bones make them stronger. Torn muscles rebuild denser than before. They deliberately damage their bodies to enhance their capabilities." The council's eldest member, known only as Shadow Prime, spoke for the first time. "You're suggesting we reject the contract?" "I'm suggesting we run," Kiratal replied. "The Empire doesn't understand what they're dealing with. Look at this." The hologram changed to show human entertainment, action movies, combat sports, survival games. They don't just train for war, they fantasize about it. Create art about it. Their young play games simulating combat before they can even walk. She paused, letting the implications sink in. We are the galaxy's most lethal assassins because we spend our lives perfecting the art of dealing death. But humans, they're born to it. Every aspect of their culture, their biology, their psychology is optimized for survival and combat. Surely their technology is primitive enough that we could dash, Vector began. No, Kirital cut him off. That's the final piece. She showed intercepted human communications. They know we're watching. They've known for months. Every surveillance drone we've sent. They detected it. But instead of shooting them down, they let them watch. They wanted us to see. The chamber fell into stunned silence as the truth sank in. These humans weren't just dangerous, they were confident enough in their abilities to let potential enemies study them. Shadow Prime stood, his mask reflecting the holographic displays. Send our response to the Empire. The Shadow Syndicate formally declines their contract, and strongly advises against any hostile action toward Earth. As the council members filed out, Kirital remained, watching the footage of humans participating in something called mixed martial arts. She had killed beings from thousands of species, but for the first time in her long life, she felt something new, respect tinged with fear. They don't need assassins, she murmured to herself. They are weapons in human form, and they're just waiting for someone to give them a reason to prove it. Empire's awakening. The Imperial Palace on Nexus Prime shook with High Counselor Venare's rage. Her bioluminescent patches flared with such intensity that the other council members had to shield their eyes. Rejected? She slammed her ceremonial staff against the floor, sending crystalline shards scattering. The Shadow Syndicate has never rejected a contract in their entire history. Commander ZYX-427 stood steady, all four eyes focused on the data streams flowing through the chamber's holographic displays. The Syndicate didn't just reject the contract, High Counselor. They've issued a formal warning against any hostile action toward Earth. The chamber fell silent. The Shadow Syndicate had never intervened in political matters before. For them to issue such a warning was unprecedented. Counselor Dreltox's scales shifted to a pale green of worry. Show us what frightened them. ZYX-427's tentacles danced across the control panel, bringing up the Syndicate's full report. The chamber filled with new holographic footage, not the military exercises they'd seen before, but something far more disturbing. This is from their deep infiltration teams, ZYX-427 explained. The footage showed humans in various environments, Arctic wastelands, scorching deserts, ocean depths, mountain peaks. They can survive in environments that would kill most species. But it's not just survival, they thrive. Many species adapt to harsh environments, Venare countered, her glow dimming slightly. Watch, ZYX-427 commanded. The footage shifted to show humans deliberately entering these lethal environments. They call it exploration. They risk death for knowledge, for achievement, for what they call the challenge. Another counselor, Mithran, spoke up, her crystalline form vibrating with concern. Surely this is just their warrior caste? That's what makes them unique, ZYX-427 replied. They have no warrior caste. Every human is potentially a warrior. Look at this. The displays showed scenes from human hospitals, beings recovering from devastating injuries, learning to walk again, fighting through rehabilitation with determined expressions. Their bodies don't just heal, he continued. They adapt. They grow stronger. What doesn't kill them literally makes them more formidable. And they're young. New footage played, human children in training facilities, learning combat sports, practicing survival skills, playing war games. They train their offspring from the moment they can walk. Not just for survival, but for excellence. Venare sank into her throne. How did we miss this in our initial surveys? Because we were looking for the wrong things, ZYX-427 explained. We scanned for advanced technology, energy weapons, faster-than-light capabilities. We didn't realize that their greatest weapon is their adaptability. He brought up more displays, human entertainment channels, literature databases, historical archives. For centuries, they've been preparing for extraterrestrial contact. Not just their militaries, their entire culture is built around the concept of facing and overcoming superior forces. Surely we could overwhelm them with our technology, Dreltok suggested, but his scales had shifted to an even paler shade. That's the final piece, ZYX-427 said quietly. He activated one last hologram, a massive database of human scientific achievements. In the time we've been watching them, they've advanced their technology at an exponential rate. They don't develop linearly like other species. They make massive leaps, often driven by crisis or competition. The commander highlighted recent human innovations in various fields. They went from primitive flight to landing on their moon in less than 7 decades. From basic computing to quantum systems in less than a century. And now, the final display showed Earth's latest defense installations, systems that shouldn't have been possible with their level of technology. They've detected our surveillance, ZYX-427 concluded. And instead of panicking, they've accelerated their development. They're not afraid of us. They're preparing for us. Venare's bioluminescence had faded to a dim glow. What are our options? The Shadow Syndicate's warning was clear, ZYX-427 replied. Any aggressive action toward Earth would be suicide. But there might be another approach. The council members leaned forward as the commander continued. Their history shows something interesting. While they're formidable enemies, they can be even more valuable allies. Their drive to explore, to overcome challenges, to push boundaries, it could benefit the entire galaxy. You're suggesting diplomacy? Dreltox asked incredulously. With a species that terrifies professional assassins? I'm suggesting survival, ZYX-427 said firmly. Because right now, they're aware of us but haven't decided if we're a threat. If we make the wrong choice, we won't be dealing with a primitive species defending its territory. We'll be facing a race of natural warriors who have spent centuries imagining and preparing for this exact scenario. The council chamber fell into contemplative silence, broken only by the soft hum of holographic displays still showing scenes of human resilience, determination, and potential. Humanity had unknowingly achieved something unprecedented. They had made the galaxy's most powerful empire consider the possibility that conquest might not be the wisest path forward. Humanity strikes back. The United Earth Defense Command Center, buried deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, hummed with activity. Admiral Raven Winters stood before the global holographic display, her weathered face illuminated by the glow of countless surveillance points tracking alien vessels throughout the solar system. They're still debating, she announced to the assembled military and civilian leadership. Our quantum intercepts show significant distress in their communications. General Ibrahim Hassan, commander of the Global Special Forces, allowed himself a small smile. They've finally realized we've been watching them watch us. The room, filled with representatives from every major nation on Earth, had been operating in secret for the past 5 years, ever since the first alien probe was detected. Instead of shooting it down, they had made a different choice, one that had just proven devastatingly effective. Show them the latest, Winters ordered. Dr. Naomi Singh, head of xenopsychology, stepped forward. Her team had been analyzing alien behavior patterns since first contact. The Empire's entire command structure is in chaos. The Shadow Syndicate's rejection of their assassination contract has triggered a complete reassessment of their expansion policies. She brought up new data streams showing intercepted alien communications. They're fascinated by us, terrified of us, and, most importantly, they don't understand us at all. That was the plan, Hassan noted. Every training exercise we let them observe, every civilian activity we made sure they saw, it all built a specific picture. Winters nodded. A species that turns combat into sport, survival into recreation, and impossible challenges into entertainment. We showed them exactly what they feared most, a civilization that doesn't just survive adversity, but actively seeks it out. The display shifted to show the Empire's latest movements. Their ships had been slowly withdrawing from Earth's solar system over the past week, maintaining only minimal observation posts at the outer edges. They're preparing for diplomatic contact, Singh reported. Their psychological profiles suggest they're hoping to turn us into allies rather than risk us as enemies. And the Shadow Syndicate? Someone asked from the back of the room. Still watching, Hassan replied. But their latest communications suggest they're more interested in learning from us than hunting us. We've achieved something unprecedented, we've impressed the galaxy's most lethal assassins. Winters touched a control, bringing up Earth's defense grid. What the aliens saw as surprisingly advanced technology was only the surface. The real breakthroughs remained hidden, ready to be unveiled if diplomacy failed. Status of Project Prometheus? She asked. Dr. Singh consulted her data pad. The quantum entanglement drive is ready for demonstration. When their diplomats arrive, we can show them that we're not just warriors, we're innovators. We've solved problems their scientists have struggled with for centuries, simply because we approached them differently. That's what they don't understand about us, Hassan added. We don't just face challenges, we create them. We don't just overcome obstacles, we seek them out. Every human achievement, from climbing Mount Everest to walking on the moon, came not from necessity but from our need to push boundaries. Winters surveyed the room, meeting the eyes of each leader present. The Empire thought they were studying a primitive species. Instead, they found something they'd never encountered before, a civilization that turns its weaknesses into strengths, its challenges into opportunities, and its dreams into reality. The display showed their first diplomatic contact vessel, newly completed and ready for launch. Its design incorporated elements of human culture and achievement, a statement of both capability and aspiration. They came looking for conquest, Winters continued, but found something that terrified them more than any weapon, a species that doesn't know how to quit, doesn't understand the meaning of impossible, and turns its greatest challenges into its proudest achievements. Dr. Singh brought up the latest psychological analysis of the Empire's leadership. They're beginning to realize that everything they saw, every display of strength, every demonstration of capability, was just the surface. We let them see exactly what we wanted them to see. And now? Hassan asked, though they all knew the answer. Now we show them what humanity is truly capable of, Winters replied. Not as conquerors or victims, but as equals. We'll offer them partnership, not out of fear or weakness, but because humanity's greatest strength isn't our ability to fight. She paused, looking at the image of Earth rotating slowly in the central display. It's our ability to turn enemies into allies, challenges into achievements, and the unknown into opportunity. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. They had achieved victory without firing a shot, simply by being what they had always been, human. The Empire's greatest fear had become their greatest hope for the future, and the galaxy would never be the same. A new dawn. The Great Hall of Convergence on Nexus Prime had never hosted a gathering quite like this. The crystalline dome reflected the light of 3 moons, casting prismatic patterns across a scene that would have been unthinkable mere months ago. Empire officials, Shadow Syndicate representatives, and a human diplomatic delegation, all gathered under one roof. Commander ZYX-427 stood at his observation post, all 4 eyes tracking the proceedings with intense interest. The human representatives moved through the crowd with an ease that belied their status as newcomers to galactic society. They showed neither fear nor arrogance, just curiosity and an almost predatory awareness of their surroundings. Ambassador Julia Rodriguez, Earth's chosen representative, approached the central podium. Unlike the elaborate environmental suits worn by most species, she wore only a simple dress uniform, comfortable in the alien atmosphere that should have been hostile to human life. Your bombardment of Earth's atmosphere with radiation over the past century, she began without preamble, was detected and adapted to. Each generation of humans became more resistant. What you intended as preparation for conquest became our immunization. The Empire officials shifted uncomfortably. High Counselor Venare's bioluminescence flickered with embarrassment. Your surveillance drones provided us with invaluable data about your technology, Rodriguez continued. Each one we allowed you to think was undetected taught us more about your capabilities and limitations. Master Assassin Kirital, representing the Shadow Syndicate, let out a musical laugh. You knew. The entire time, you knew. Of course, Rodriguez smiled. Just as we knew about the assassination contract. Your rejection of it told us everything we needed to know about your organization's intelligence and wisdom. She gestured, and her aide activated a holographic display. It showed Earth's true defense capabilities, not the primitive systems they had allowed the Empire to see, but a network of quantum-entangled satellites, gravity manipulation fields, and weapons that even the Empire's scientists had only theorized about. Humanity doesn't just adapt to survive, Rodriguez explained. We adapt to thrive. Every challenge you presented became an opportunity. Every threat became a catalyst for innovation. The display shifted to show human achievements, cities under the ocean, colonies in the harshest environments, medical breakthroughs that bordered on resurrection technology. But our greatest achievement, she continued, isn't our technology or our resilience. It's our ability to imagine possibilities beyond conflict. We prepare for war not because we desire it, but because we understand something your empire has forgotten. The room fell silent as she paused, looking each alien leader in the eye. True strength isn't in conquering others. It's in being so formidable that conquest becomes unnecessary. It's in turning potential enemies into allies, challenges into opportunities, and differences into strengths. She pressed a button, and the hologram showed a new image, a design for a joint human-empire research facility. We're not here to join your empire or to fight it. We're here to offer something more valuable, partnership. Humanity's drive to explore, to innovate, to overcome challenges, combined with your civilization's resources and established networks. Venare stepped forward, her glow now steady and calm. You could have revealed your true capabilities at any time. Why this elaborate dance? Rodriguez smiled. Because we wanted you to understand us. Not just our capabilities, but our nature. We needed you to see that humanity isn't just another species to be conquered or appeased. We're a force of change, of evolution, of constant growth. Kirital moved closer, her crystalline form catching the light. You've changed everything. The galaxy's power structure, its politics, its future. That's what humans do, Rodriguez replied. We change things. Sometimes by force, but preferably by inspiration. We don't want to rule the galaxy or defend against it. We want to explore it, understand it, and help it grow. The gathering fell into contemplative silence as the implications sank in. Humanity hadn't just avoided conquest, they had rewritten the rules of galactic civilization. Their strength wasn't in their weapons or technology, but in their ability to turn any situation to their advantage, to learn from every challenge, and to imagine possibilities others couldn't see. As the first treaties were signed and the new era began, Commander ZYX-427 made a final entry in his report. In seeking to conquer humanity, we discovered something far more valuable, a species that could teach us how to be better than we are. The Empire sought to expand its territory but instead expanded its understanding of what is possible. Perhaps that was humanity's plan all along. The 3 moons of Nexus Prime continued their eternal dance overhead, casting their light on a gathering that marked not the end of a potential conflict, but the beginning of a transformation. Humanity had achieved what no species had managed in the Empire's long history. They had turned fear into respect, enemies into allies, and an ending into a beginning. In the end, humanity's greatest victory wasn't in proving they could fight. It was in proving they could imagine and create something better than war. The galaxy would never be the same, and that was exactly what humanity had intended all along.